Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're lucky enough to be doing it too, I'm Bushka Blitz, and I'm back with another razzle-dazzle performance today. We're going to be talking about the brand spanking, fresh to the marketplace, crisp as you like them, Brit tanks. The Brit tanks are coming up, and they're coming here for your viewing pleasure. There's a whole new section of the British tree. Now, it is not a full line. It starts at tier 2 and goes all the way through to tier 6. But it's almost like bringing a little bit of balance to the force. If you don't like the fantasy tanks as they're branded, the tanks that we've had recently, like the Predator, the Vindicator, and even Tankenstein, which is a little bit of a giggle tank more than a fantasy tank, and made up of offcuts from KV4s and Tiger Ps and all kind of things, then this line is really going to float your boat. They've included, well, a couple of tanks in particular, some Lend-Lease tanks, and two tanks at the end of the tree at tier 5 and tier 6, namely the Sherman 5, which is a Lend-Lease tank, and it was the big gun, the M4A4. Now, the Brits called it the Sherman V or the Sherman 5, the Roman numeral. It was the one that was fitted with this thing here, the 75mm M3, and that's a pretty cool gun. And it's a tier 5 gun and tier 4 gun on a tier 5 tank, but it does work exceptionally well. You also have the option of running a howitzer with it, which you're not really going to do. Today, I'm not going to be showing a lot of gameplay. You might be able to find some gameplay of these tanks all over the place, and I'll let you see some gameplay there. But look, if the past has proven any one thing to me, it's that playing against bots on the test server is kind of like just poking your eyes out with a blunt instrument. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. They just don't perform. They refuse to get up for the match. So this will be keeping you happy. If you are a historical tanker, then you'd know your World War II tanks, and you'd know the M4A4, the Sherman V, the Sherman 5 with the 75mm is really pretty cool. And it was something that featured in the Normandy invasions. And then you get to tier 6 and you get this absolute rip snorter. This is miles and miles ahead of the pack in terms of historical value. This is the one that everyone's wanted in game forever, the Sherman Firefly. It was a Lend-Lease tank that was fitted with this gun, which was pretty special, the 17-pounder. There's a real story behind it. There was the powers that be didn't want to do it, and it was an incredible weapon, but at the same time, it was also very, very tough to get into the tank. And when they finally got it in, it really wowed and did brilliantly and made the tank's name, really. It was the gun that could finally consistently penetrate Tigers and Panthers, which were important tanks to get rid of in the Normandy invasions. And it was an exceptionally cool looking weapon. And I'm going to give you a look at the tank, and you'll see there, comparing the two Shermans, the M4A4, the Sherman 5, and the Firefly. The Firefly's a little taller. And look at the length on that barrel. It's almost like a Panther kind of barrel. That exceptionally long gun that doesn't look like it would fit in the turret. And if you think that's the case, then you would be well and truly forgiven. I'll read you a little excerpt. Now, this is from Wikipedia, so you know it's not guaranteed to be 100% the gospel truth, but yeah, it absolutely is something I think well worth hearing. And this is from a guy called Ken Tout, who served as a tank gunner and tank commander. And he talked about mounting the 17-pounder in the Sherman. And this is Ken's words, not mine. The Firefly tank is an ordinary Sherman, but in order to accommodate the immense breech of the 17-pounder and to store its massive shells, the co-driver has been eliminated and his little den has been used as storage space. The flash is so brilliant that both gunner and commander need to blink at the moment of firing. Otherwise, they will be blinded for so long that they will not see the shot hit the target. The muzzle flash spurts out so much flame that after a shot or two, the hedge or undergrowth in front of the tank is likely to start burning. And when moving, the guns overlap in front, or if traversed to the side is so long, that driver, gunner, and commander have to be constantly alert to avoid wrapping the barrel around some apparently distant tree, defenseless lamppost, or inoffensive house. Isn't that just wonderful? Kent out. That's that gun, and it's exceptionally famous. Even I, as a tanking neophyte when I came to the game, had heard of the Sherman Firefly. It was a rallying cry in Normandy, and it performed well and truly, and I mean, it's great to have it in game. It's something that so many people, so many of the buffs, like, you know, Simon T, Frankie, Met, all the boys, JC Ware, all the guys on Patreon that I talk to all the time, this is a tank that they've all talked about to me previously in some capacity, and they have absolutely nailed this tank for my money, and I'll show you why. The absolute best penetration model on a tier 6 medium tank at the moment is 155 millimeters on an AP round. The Firefly has 171 millimeters on its AP rounds on the 17 pounder and 239 millimeters on the APCR. They have built the Firefly, put it in game, and you have a Tiger Killer. You have a tank with incredible penetration values. Its DPM is not crazy. I'm not about to go off reservation and say that it's going to be overpowered because of that. And I've played it in game, and it looks awesome. And I'll give you a squiz at it here, but it looks pretty cool, and it looks like being a very, very interesting vehicle. And the Valentine, obviously, there is the Valentine here, and then there is the Lend-Lease Valentine that the Russians also got a hold of. And the big difference between these two is the gun. The 45mm 20 KL that you get on the Russian, which is 17.8 rounds a minute at 55 average alpha and 51mm of AP piercing value. And then in this Tech Tree variant of the Valentine, very, very cool. 13.64 rounds a minute on the 6 pounder, but 130 millimeters of AP pen and 90 average alpha. So that pen really goes to show that this is not a little premium tank penetration deal. This is a proper bugger off Tech Tree tank. 60 millimeters of frontal armor on the premium premium Valentine, and 60 millimeters on the front for the Tech Tree. So you're going to get the same kind of solid armor profile, but you're actually going to get a really lovely gun. So this could turn into a tank that is low-key OP as a pocket heavy, despite having the light tank moniker, because it does do 24 kilometers an hour. It's not a light tank's bum. It is a heavy tank for all intents and purposes. Other interesting things to note. Now, Martin Dogger, hats off to Martin. Martin actually cooked up a whole heap of footage for me to use because I wasn't able to get on the test servers. Just one of the bad things of being in an Asian time zone when everyone else is on the rest other side of the world. Martin Dogger, my good mate, who's been around for a long time, and I've known for quite some time. His YouTube channel, by the way, you should check out. Martin Dogger's got his own YouTube channel. He's got just kicked over 4,000 subs. He did a lot of footage for me, which I didn't end up using. It was easier for me just to do things like this. He pointed this out to me as well, and this is on the Cruiser 2. Now, it's got a 40mm pom-pom. You might remember that. It was also a gun that was used as an anti-aircraft gun on naval vessels. And it's got some really odd stats on it. It's got 56.93 rounds a minute. If you're wondering, that gives you about 2,600 damage per minute, which on a tier 3 tank is even more than the Keniotsu. And I can only but think that will be changed, because despite the fact that it's got crap penetration, absolutely terrible penetration, you can still use the 75 millimeters worth of armor and get a whole lot of damage out there. Well over 2,200 damage per minute. So I would expect that to be changed. It's a fast firing gun, but that would seem rather excessive on tanks that are running around with very, very low armor profiles. I mean, if you're running on Matilda or something, hats off, because you won't have to worry about penning him anywhere apart from flat sides and the absolute rear. But they've got 400 hit points, these tanks. 400. I mean, giving someone the ability to go through in about 7 seconds an entire hit point pool is not a good idea. So look out for that to be changed. That's the Cruiser 2. But if it's not changed, get in there and get your seal clubbing going on nice and early, because it's going to be a whole barrel of laughs for anyone coming across this thing in a lightly armoured tank. And it is a light tank, so you're not expecting to have big penetration numbers on that one. The Cruiser one, I don't have a whole lot to say about. Seems like a nice tank. I'm sure it's very, very polite. And it lets old women cross the road before them and gives up their seat to people less fortunate than itself on the bus. And plus it's got, I guess that's boobs on the front. Lovely. Pectoralis majoris on the front for that one, which is also, you can see the pom-pom on that one and the pom-pom looking gun on that one too. So that's the tech tree, which I think is going to be pretty cool. It ends in the Comet. Just to give you an idea on how good the Sherman Firefly's penetration is, the Comet has a 160 millimeters, 148 millimeters worth of pen on its AP rounds and 208 on its APCR. You've got nearly 240 millimeters of pen on your APCR, which is pretty freaking exceptional. There is nothing else touching you in terms of penetration on a medium. I mean, and I love that because that's taken the historical characteristics of the Sherman Firefly and really put them into put them into the game. And I like that. I just think that's really cool. I can't give you all the numbers. I can't give you all the stats. And for God's sakes, it probably won't matter anyway, because when the game comes out, I'm going to play them and then you'll get my actual opinion based on how they went versus other tanks rather than just guesswork, because I'm so over playing them on test and then getting into live and saying, things work differently when people know how to aim, unlike the bots. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know this isn't a long review. There's a lot coming up in the next wee while, but that's what you should be aware of. And I know there'll be a lot of you salivating for this tank, and so you should. It's a very, very nice looking vehicle. On Bushka Blitz, look after yourselves. Please be nice to each other. I'm off to Minsk soon, so you're going to be getting videos while I'm away, but for heaven's sake, just be bloody nice to each other. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield, and bye for now.